From the Irish gangsters taking an entire hospital hostage to Michelle using her battle-tested skills to save her trapped son, here's everything you missed in Mercy's trailer. First things first, it looks like the stakes are higher than ever for Leah Gibson's character. Gibson plays Michelle, an ex-military doctor who finds herself in a life-or-death situation when the hospital she works at is taken hostage by Irish gangsters. This is where the two mafia guys, Jonathan Rhys-Meyers and Jon Voight, come in. The trailer for this movie dives straight into Rhys-Meyers' character telling his father Patrick that his son Ryan had been shot. Patrick was obviously worried about his son, so he went to the hospital right away to find out where he was, and this is where things take a dark turn. Suddenly, we hear screaming, and it looks like the worried father now holds everyone hostage in order to safely find his son. You see, in the midst of all of this, Patrick also found out that Ryan had been taken by the feds, which made the whole situation even more dangerous. So at the end of that day, it looks like Michelle, a mother who wants to keep her son safe, has to take things into her own hands. And Michelle can only rely on her battle-tested skills to save not only her son, but also everyone in the hospital. To pull off such an action-packed story, though, Mercy has definitely pulled off a pretty impressive cast. And one of the actors is Jon Voight, who has won awards for his parts in action movies like Deliverance, Lara Croft, Tomb Raider, and Midnight Cowboy. Some of these movies, by the way, have also gotten him his first Oscar nod. Rhys-Meyers, on the other hand, is well known for his roles in TV shows like Dracula and Vikings. Gibson, who wowed viewers as the dangerous Whisper Adara in the Batwoman TV series, will co-star with the two actors who will play the father and son in Mercy. With that being said, I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one who noticed some similarities between this movie's plot and some other action-based movies, like Taken. Okay, straight off the bat, the whole "my kid is in danger and I need to pull out my old action techniques to save him" storyline is a bit familiar. I mean, remember Taken? It sounds a lot like when Liam Neeson did everything he could to find his daughter after she had been taken hostage in Paris. Oh, and another similarity is the fact that he's also an ex-spy. So of course, throughout the movie, we see him using his unique and insane fighting skills to get to the cruel group that took his daughter.
You don't remember me? We spoke on the phone 2 days ago. I told you I would find you.
Now, if you look back at Mercy's trailer, it really does seem like Michelle is the only one using her military skills to fight the guys who are holding everyone hostage. We also know that she's a Purple Heart and a 3-time Gold Star. So yeah, it's pretty obvious the dudes holding everyone hostage didn't know they were sitting on a lethal weapon. And it seems like a one-man war, since we don't really see anyone else getting the courage to fight back. I guess the difference between this movie and Taken would be that this time, at least Michelle has some FBI help from the outside. I would say, though, that while Michelle's character is a lot like Liam Neeson's, the entire hostage situation kind of makes this movie more like Die Hard, because John McClane, like Michelle, is also trapped inside the building that's being held by bad people. And while we don't really know whether Michelle ends up being actively helped by the FBI, the fact that they're outside of the hospital means they're definitely going to have a role to play. In Die Hard, though, one of the police officers started doubting McClane's involvement in the crime and thought that the supposed policeman was more than he let on, whereas in Mercy, the FBI seems to have complete faith in Michelle's ability, and so the only thing they're working on is making it easier for her to fight the bad guys from the inside. With all that said, let's take a look at some of the other action thrillers that are going to be released in 2023. The first one is obviously The Hunger Games: The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. This movie is based on Suzanne Collins' 2020 predecessor of the same name, which takes place 64 years before the Hunger Games series. At the time, though, the story focuses on Coriolanus Snow, the white-haired president of Panem, who has been played with elegant malice by the great Donald Sutherland so far.
Where there is no health care, where you have capital punishment, where the poor have a devastatingly small minimum wage, what does he feel like? He doesn't feel like he's a bad person.
To be more precise, we'll be getting into his early life, that is, before he became so ruthless. Back then, Snow was an eager youth who, despite being an orphan and living on the edge of poverty, did well at the academy and was given the job of training a tribute for the 10th Hunger Games, the fierce and musically talented Lucy Gray Baird from District 12. The much-anticipated new book is about their friendship and the bloody competition that put Snow on the path to becoming a dictator. Throughout the story, we essentially learn more about how the Hunger Games changed changed over time, and how Snow became the evil leader who makes Katniss Everdeen's life miserable. Last year in May, we found out that this movie's cast will also include Rachel Zegler, who will be playing Baird, and Tom Blythe, who was just in the movies Benediction and The Gilded Age, would play Snow. Then in June, it was also announced that Euphoria's Hunter Schafer had joined the pair as Coriolanus' cousin Tigress Snow. While the thrill behind these games will be brought to life once more this year, some other movies will also be upgrading their stunt game like never before. Take Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 for example. When it comes to the plot, the team has been very quiet about where the story will go. But hey, that doesn't mean fans have stopped making guesses. Now that we know Ethan Hunt's last movies will be the 7th and 8th, a lot of people have been going over interviews with the cast and crew to extract any information regarding what to expect. As the name suggests, it seems like Dead Reckoning is the most dangerous job that Hunt has done so far.
You okay?
You've never done better.
Don't. How close were we? The usual.
Eugene Kittredge, the former head of the IMF, comes back after 25 years of silence. This is bad news for Hunt and his team. Kittredge believes that Hunt must fight for the good of humanity for centuries to come. In Fallout, the IMF team saved the world from a nuclear disaster, which was the biggest box office hit of the series. This time, there's even more at stake. As far as the cast goes, we all know that Tom Cruise is back as Agent Ethan Hunt. Apart from him, Ving Rhames is also back as Luther Stickle for the 7th time. Speaking of Mission Impossible, it looks like Ethan Hunt isn't the only one pulling dangerous stunts this year, because Extraction 2 has definitely taken it up a notch with its action scenes too. In this movie, Rake lives to fight another day, just like any good action hero. The teaser video that came out for this movie in September 2021 was enough to pull us back into Rake's high-stakes world. The video starts by going over Rake's last moments. We see him getting shot and then falling into a river. And Mahajan tells him, "Tyler, you don't drown when you fall into the river, you drown when you stay in it." Then, against all odds, Rake opens his eyes and starts swimming to the top. In September 2022, we also got a behind-the-scenes movie called First Look. Even though the 2-minute spot doesn't tell anything about the plot, it does show that Tyler Rake lived through the events of the first movie, even though he was officially dead but fought his way back. In the video, there's also an amazing fight scene where Rake beats up armed guards during a jail riot while his hand is on fire. And at the end of the video, Rake is seen firing a machine gun at an enemy helicopter from the top of a train. And that's all for everything you missed in Mercy's trailer.